So Shopify shares are rising this morning and up more than 50% so far this month. Company breaking its Black Friday record, totaling $4.1 billion in sales. Joining us now is Harley Finkelstein. He's Shopify's president. Harley, I am looking at a website, BFCM, and right now it is ticking and ticking and ticking. I see unique shoppers. That's not right, is it? 52 million?
52 million, yeah. So right now, for anyone watching, by the way, you can check out Shopify's real-time shopping tracker, shopify.com/BFCM, which stands for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. But just to say the thing, I mean, Black Friday set an incredible stage, I think, Jim, for the entire weekend. Cyber Monday has already been off to a great start. But really for us, I mean, this weekend is like the Super Bowl for entrepreneurs and brands. The weekend belongs to them. I thought before we actually get into what's happening right now, let me kind of do a quick review of what we've seen over the last 3 days, because it's quite remarkable.
Sure.
We saw peak sales per minute globally on Black Friday was 4.2 million per minute. That was right around noon on Friday, 12:01 Eastern time. And just to compare, last year peak sales per minute globally on Black Friday was about 3.5 million around the same time. But in total, in aggregate, we saw about $4.1 billion sold on Black Friday. That's a 22% increase since last year's Black Friday, which is about 3.36. But another thing to remark about is the velocity. We start tracking Black Friday, Cyber Monday from midnight UTC in Europe. We saw merchants cross the $1 billion mark before midnight EST on Black Friday, which was a couple hours earlier than last year. And so, while it's still early on Cyber Monday, I think the thing we're seeing is that shoppers are voting with their wallets to buy from brands they love, both online and in store. We can talk about in store too, and those brands are on Shopify.
Now, how much did it help about your deal with Amazon? Did it make a difference?
Look, our entire objective is to give merchants as much choice and as much optionality as possible. So whether it's working with companies like Amazon or working with all the major social media platforms, we're creating a retail operating system, which means whatever you want to do from Shopify, you can do that. But the success of this Black Friday is owned by our merchants, and they're doing really well. Something that a new stat that I just got is over 30,000 of our merchants, for them, Black Friday was their best sales day ever on Shopify. And if you look at the globe, there's this really cool little Easter egg, which Jim, you're going to love this because I know you're such a fan of small business. Over 13,000 merchants had their very first sale ever on at the start of Black Friday. So when you see those fireworks on the map, those purple fireworks, that's a brand new entrepreneur getting their very first sale.
Hey, Harley, is it your sense that the discounting is more or less aggressive than you thought going into the weekend?
Hey, Carl. Look, I think what you're seeing is really the power of the consumer. I mean, this Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend is now a season. Discounting started as early October this year, will likely go right up to Christmas. So I don't think the discounting is really driving it, but I really do think what we're seeing is the power of the consumer. Average cart price in the U.S. right now is about $121. That's up from about that's up from last year. It's about $107 globally. And you're seeing cities like L.A., New York, and San Francisco are currently the top-selling cities in the U.S. So, I think consumers are the VIPs or the superheroes driving this economy this holiday season. And it's not just happening online. I know you guys were talking about offline before, but one of the things that's very interesting is that sales made by merchants on Shopify using our point of sale system, which is in store, has grown by 33% since this period last year. So I don't think it's just online only. I think it's this intentionality where consumers want to buy from their favorite brands. And some of the major trending ones right now is, Stanley, for example, their tumbler. I mean, think about this. Stanley, which is a top trending product, is a 110-year-old company selling a Barbie pink tumbler. And another company that's also trending is Viore, which was created in the last 10 years or so. So I think there's this real appetite to buy from brands you love.
Harley, for our viewers who are trying to get a sense overall as what this means for the economy, for the consumer, I don't know if you've tracked this data set in the past or what you've seen or how much things have slowed down from Black Friday. You seem to be quite positive, but can you give a little more granularity in terms of what you've seen in the past and therefore what you may expect for the rest of the holiday season?
I mean, there's no question it's up from last year, but let's actually look real time right now. So right now, as we speak, on a real time tracker, we're seeing about 1.3 million sales per minute and about over 11,000 orders per minute. So again, what we're seeing is that the U.S. consumer and the consumers around the world seem to be strong. They're buying from brands they really love. They have a connection to as well. But in terms of how this has been trending, I mean, I was on your show in Q3 after our earnings report where I talked about Q3 GMV was up 22% year on year to $56 billion. So I don't think this is just a Black Friday, Cyber Monday phenomenon. I do think there's a reset in the consumer where the consumer is saying we want to buy from the brands we love. We may not buy 10 T-shirts. We're going to buy the 3 T-shirts that we really love. And so quality really matters and intentionality matters. And that really is the theme of this BFCM weekend, but belongs to these independent direct-to-consumer brands.
Okay, so how are people getting through these? For instance, Stanley had an amazing, I saw it on TikTok, an amazing video about a car
that fire in the car, right? It's unbelievable.
Right, but that had to drive traffic, right?
All these things do, and one of the things you are seeing is that, we used to talk about this idea of omni-channel and retail, retail being online versus online, and you still hear on earnings calls from traditional retailers, they talk about channel conflict. You're not hearing that from Viore. You're not hearing that from Gymshark. You're not hearing that from Alo Yoga. What they're creating is this way where not only are they marketing to their consumer every single touch point on social media, on brick and mortar, on billboards, on television and radio, but in terms of how they're purchasing, they're channel agnostic. They want to work, they want to be able to sell in the precise way that their consumer wants. And that might be online, that may be on Instagram, that may be on a marketplace, that may be in a physical store. That's part of the reason why you're hearing us at Shopify talk so much about retail everywhere and building this piece of software so that every consumer, every brand, every merchant is future-proof for the next 10, 20, 30 years.